Welcome to Christmas Decorating episode number 3. This week we're doing entryway. Now entryway to me starts just as you're approaching the front door. So we're going to decorate the porch and then we're going to come into the hallway and we're going to decorate this space. As always, we are not going to be spending lots of money. We're hardly going to spend any money at all. We're going to shop from nature. We're going to shop from what we already have here and revamp where we need to.
Well, welcome to a very wet Sussex, England. It is pouring down. Now the branches here were put up in my fall decorations. The leaves now have come off, so they are perfect for winter Christmas styling. And of course you can't have Christmas without lights, can you? Remember to wind your lights on tubes and it will make sure that they don't get tangled. Now I've stretched these out the full length because I want to find the middle spot, the exact center, which I've taped up here. And I'm going to align that with the lantern on the porch because I know that is central. And then I'll get an even distribution of lights both sides. I'm weaving the lights in and out and around the branches, but I am using wire to tie them on. Obviously we're outside here, so you know when you've got windy conditions you don't want the lights blowing off. So they're on, but that doesn't look terribly Christmassy, does it? So I have an idea to decorate the branches with twigs. Now I bought a job lot, I know, bonkers, job lot of twigs from auctions. I was actually after the big plastic tubs that they were in. The silver ones I don't want to use inside the house, but I'm thinking if I make up small bundles of these silver ones and then attach them to the branches, or certainly the main stem of the branches, that might actually look quite good. So I'm just going to have a play around with this. I am seriously making this up on the hoof, which is often how I work. I mean, if you don't push boundaries, if you don't try things, you'll never know what you can do. The big branches were originally attached to the porch with cable ties and then wrapped with twine. So I've poked some of the twigs in upside down at the bottom, so that gives it a finish and you're not left with the wire showing or a stubby end. I've poked a few of the twigs into the conifers at the front as well, just to try and pull the whole theme together, which I'm going to take in as well. Now the front door, I've decided I'm not going to do a wreath this year. We're going to go down to the field and we're going to shop Mother Nature. Now I'm quite fancying a little bit off here, so the loppers have come out. And I'm also going to take some of the Leylandii. Now we let Leylandii here just grow and do what they want. They are huge, but they just keep on giving. They are fabulous to design with. Unfortunately, the weather is not fabulous, but we will not be deterred. So we're in the garage at the moment and I've got to set up a little workbench and I'm going to make a very big swag. So I've measured the front door and I know I want the length of my swag, the drop if you like, to be about 3 feet and about 4 feet across. So we're not being timid here. We are really going to go for it. I've cut a few different types of fir because they last so well in or out of water. I'm going to add on some twigs, some branches. Again, use some of the silver ones in order to keep that theme, keep everything cohesive. I'm going to use a cable tie and then a couple of embellishments. So I've got these old bells and some vintage ice skates. Now I know these are vintage because they're stuffed with newspaper dating from 1957. I'm going to start by trimming off a few inches down on each of the branches so I can bundle them together and then use a cable tie as tightly as I can possibly get it. I find at this stage it's quite useful to actually hang it up on a door on a wall just so you can get the shape. I'm then going to wire in some twigs. I'm using the same wire that I used on the silver twigs earlier. I bought it off Amazon. I'll link it below for you. I'm using the nippers here just to get a good twist on that wire to make sure that they don't fall off. Now I like to lay it back down on the bench and place out, position the different things I want to use. I'm nipping off the ends just to create a neatness at the top there, back onto the door just so I can make sure everything hangs properly, and then onto the front door and a ribbon just to tidy everything up, just to pretty everything up. And so it's a cheap way to make a wreath alternative for the door. Now let's get the rest of this porch cleared up, cleared out, and we'll finish the dressing. I'm going to use up those twigs, and Bertie and I are out collecting some more greenery. I've got an old vintage port box that I quite often use out here. So I put lots of packing in, and then just the top part where you can see, I lay over hessian and then put giant pine cones in. I've added a few of the silver twigs, again, just to keep the scheme cohesive. So this could be done with any container that suits your decor, any different type of fabric. Just layer in the pine cones and any embellishments that suit. Now I'm taking another old crate. I've got some buckets because I want to use water this time, and I'm going to make some free Christmas decoration. Ah, the faithful furry supervisor is never far away. Now let's go and shop the garden. I've got these conifer plants here that I actually bought about 3 years ago, and they were diddy tiny, and I just keep potting them on, and they've grown now to really quite a substantial size. So I've only managed to lose 2. I've brought one round, added a few of the twigs again just to keep that theme going, popped it into an old sack and used some recycled rustic ribbon to tie a bow on the front, also to stop the sack dropping down. The little bell that came from HomeSense some years ago, as did these stars. The stars were originally silver, and I left them outside for a year just to rust down. And the bell lives here permanently now. It's our doorbell. Now, I seem to have acquired 5 vintage sleighs, so I've brought one in. I've made another little swag that I've tied again with the ribbon, added another one of the bells that I got from HomeSense. And I think that makes a really cute display. Ever so simple to do, but really quite effective. Now, one thing to go, snow spray. Oh, you can't have Christmas without snow spray. Well, that was cold and wet. Goodness me. Door curtains coming over because it's freezing. And yes, this is a wheelbarrow in the hallway. All the cut greenery. So I'm delighted now to be back in the warmth, and we're going to get on and decorate this space. I'm going to start with the old bench under the stairs that we use as a console table and just take a couple of pieces off. And then fairy lights. You can't have Christmas without fairy lights. And I love these copper wire ones. Now, as always, I wrap them. It doesn't matter if it's on a tube, it can be on a lid. I'm going to again take some of the fresh clippings, and no fixings are going to be used. I'm just literally going to prop them behind the mirrors. They do last a long time, even when they're not in water. Now, I know you can buy special sprays to extend the life, but I really don't like the chemicals in those. And also all the foliage goes back out to be composted, so I really don't want chemicals all over it. If you saw the last Christmas decorating episode, the stair garland, you'll know there's a little bit of a theme starting to happen inside. So we've got the gold twigs, hydrangeas and brown pampas grass. So I'm going to pull that through most of the arrangements that I do all the way around the house. I do love big baubles, and not necessarily for the tree. I use them all over. These were picked up last year from HomeSense, as was this little candle that I got just for £6. So always check out the clearance section of the candles. I've got some more gold ones that I'm adding down here, and look at me living dangerously. I'm styling in a 4, not an odd number. Move across the hallway to this dresser now. Just to let you know, there's a storm coming over, so the lights have gone on as it's gone really dark. Now, I'm quite happy with the ornaments on here, so I'm not going to take them off for the sake of it. The branches, they came from the field. We've got a twisted willow tree down there. And these little ornaments I got last year off Amazon. Excuse the poo bag. Yes, it is one of Bertie's poo bags. The twine I bought, I think it was £20. It's vintage twine. There's 2 of them. And I've been using it to restring a lot of the Christmas decorations this year because I just love that twine finish. These little acorn bells are still available on Amazon, so I will drop a link in the description box below. Now on to the vase. Now this will leak, so I want to put a container in, and it's got a bit of an uneven bottom, so a cloth has gone in there along with 3 of the plastic drinking cups that we use at Twickenham for the rugby. So I've managed to get those to the exact height that I needed for the arrangement to make sure that the cups didn't wobble inside. Again, I've followed the same theme that originated on the stair garland. Now I have added ribbon to this vase and then just tied in one of the little rusty acorn bells. I made this wreath last year from just twigs out of the field and then another big ball. And yes, I'm probably breaking some design rule by having just one single bauble, but fortunately I don't give a fig. This arrangement is making me smile, and in my book that's good enough. Now onto this dresser. This is my all-time favourite dresser. It's late 1700s, early 1800s, French, weighs a ton. Now the twig wreath, that came several years ago from Home Sense. I think they still stock them. I'm adding some more of the velvet ribbon and some bits that I salvaged from an old wreath that I pulled apart. I've actually got several of these twig wreaths because I think I paid about $9.99 for them. They're such good quality and they're really well made. Now I wanted a tray for the front and then I realised I had this £5 find. I think it's pewter. It is seriously heavy. And once I get that label off, then we can decorate it. So more of the balls, big balls, darling. They're coming out again. Absolutely love these. It's such a simple way just to elevate your decorating using a tray or something just to corral, and then layering up your baubles. I'm going to add a little bit more interest just by poking in a few more of these bits as well. I'm going to finish off by just layering over a few strips of the brown velvet ribbon. Now to this end of the hallway where we have the wood burner and the little reading nook. I want to bring in another one of those conifer trees. They're actually really quite heavy and I am going to have to water this, so I don't want the floors getting damaged. So I've put it into plastic and then it's going to go into a sack because it's actually too big for the basket that I was originally intending to use. This is my son Giles. He is so helpful. We're both YouTubers, so it's wonderful having him here. He's actually a professional golfer and a most amazing golf coach, so do check him out if golf is your thing. Well, we finally managed it. We've got this baby into the sack. And now I'm going to bring in another one of my vintage sleigh collections. The reason I have so many is I actually bought one and then I was bidding on a lot at auction and I thought there was one sleigh and it turned out there was 4 in the lot. So that's how I ended up with 5. I'm going to add again some of the copper fairy lights to this and some more of the brown ribbon. Now, Bertie, you're going to have to move out of the way because I need to get to that windowsill. There's a garland on here that Giles brought back from Hobby Lobby in Chicago for me last summer. And, do you know, it's absolutely fine. I'm going to leave it there and I'm just going to layer up all the greenery and using the same theme again with the hydrangeas, the pine cones and everything else in order just to dress that area. Now let's move on to the mantle above this little wood burner. I have ummed and ahed about how to do this, whether I was going to get the command strips out. I'm useless with those anyway. Whether I was going to use chicken wire, whether I was going to use garlands, take all the mirrors off. And in the end, I thought, no, we're just going to keep it simple. So I am using the offcuts again and then tucking in behind the layered up mirrors. There's nothing particularly heavy here, so it's not going to pull anything off. You know, the mirrors aren't going to slip or fall forward. Also, the wood burner, we don't use that a huge amount. And when we do, we don't have it raging. It really is there in the background. Plus, I'm making sure that I am not letting anything severely overhang, so there's no risk of fire here. I do hope you're going to join me for the full decorations tour, which will be at the end of this series. We've still got loads of decorating to come. This is episode 3, and it's probably going to be a 7 or 8 episode series, so masses to come. Now, as I get to the end of this garland, I'm actually going to leave this negative space at the end and just tie a brown velvet ribbon here.